What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Knicks Latest. Typically, I come on here and it's a much jollier, much happier, much more welcoming tone to the show. And I'm recording this in the morning. So, I slept. I slept after that game, and it still hurts. Listen, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to build a Knicks fan base here. We're trying to build a community of New York Knicks fans who can come together, who can chat, who can communicate with each other. Eventually, want to start going live, doing live reactions, things of that nature. So in order to do that, you got to subscribe. We got to build the community. Like the video. Comment on the video about what you thought about last night's game, which was, just heartbreaking, unbelievable game. Pacers defeat the Knicks. Let's just get into it right now. 138-135 in a game that went into overtime, in a game that I'm not sure I've ever seen the Knicks lose like that. There was one game in Dallas that was the regular season when Luka made up a 9-point deficit in 30-something seconds. I'm sure y'all remember that. But that was a regular season game, so it did not hurt anywhere near as much as this one hurts. The Pacers are just... every round they've done this. To the Bucks they did it, to the Cavs they did it, and now to the New York Knicks. They have overcome what has seemed to be just an impossible deficit to overcome, and has stolen one on the road. You just have to give props to them first. I know that's probably not the popular thing. I'm going to try to stay positive throughout all this. I think you're going to see a lot of Knicks content, a lot of national media content jumping out of the window when it comes to this New York Knicks team. Wouldn't surprise me if you have a lot of talking heads on national media saying that this series is over. How do you come back from this? I don't believe that. At the end of the day, this is just one game. It counts as one game. There's still a long series ahead of us, but we do have to recognize that one slipped through our fingers last night, and it's almost like we have to beat the Pacers 5 times now, right? It's because we feel like we beat them last night, but we didn't. And now we got to do it 4 more times. Positives. Start with some positives. Karl-Anthony Towns, man, on offense, not defense. Defense, he was horrific. But offensively, 4 3-pointers, seemed to get whatever he wanted. I was wondering if he was going to be more perimeter-oriented this particular series, because Boston, they would switch and they would allow him to get in the post against a smaller player and just, they would sacrifice that than rather him kill them from the perimeter. And I thought Cat did a great job mixing up his game offensively, driving to the hole, but also, not losing why we got him, which was to spread the floor, which was to shoot the three. And he got hot a little early, which kept the Knicks in the game when the Pacers were shooting 100% from the floor. And that's not an exaggeration. The Pacers were shooting 100% from the floor by the first media timeout. I thought he played well offensively. I wish that they ran the offense a little more through him. There were times where he was ignored. There were times on the pick and roll and pick and pop where he was ignored. And he still had over 30. So shout out to Karl-Anthony Towns on the offensive end. That's a positive. Positive. Jalen Brunson, 43 points. That's a positive. There are things that I can say about how he played towards the end of the game, particularly after, the flopathon that him and Nesmith had together. It felt like Jalen Brunson reverted back to Detroit Pistons game 2 Jalen Brunson, where all he was trying to do was prove that he was getting fouled. But at the end of the day, he did have clutch basket after clutch basket in the fourth. 43 points, getting into the lane against Ben Shepherd, whatever he wanted to, finishing in the paint. Wasn't enough, unfortunately. But you got 43 points out of your captain. You got 43 points out of the guy who's supposed to lead you to the promised land. We can sit here and nitpick about his decision-making and maybe pounding the rock too much, or trying to, I don't want to say flop, but, trying to emphasize to the ref that, like, hey, I'm getting hit here. Might have thrown off the Knicks offense a little bit, but I don't believe the Knicks lost this game on offense. So I want to shout out Jalen Brunson, 43 points. Mikal Bridges had a solid game offensively. Didn't hit a three, but was in the paint, was living in mid-range for most of the night. Was an efficient night for the most part. OG Anunoby with a fantastic fourth quarter in a game where he looked like, a fantastic beginning of the fourth quarter. He when Brunson went to the bench, and this is probably the biggest positive that we didn't expect. Brunson goes to the bench with 5 fouls. OG takes over the game, and non-Brunson minutes this game were off the charts. Did not expect the Knicks to play this well without Brunson last year in the playoffs. I don't know if you remember. Anytime Brunson came out, it was a bloodbath, and Tibbs had to get him back in right away. Like, Brunson could not sit. Today, or last night, Brunson sits, and the Knicks thrived. They went on a 14-0 run without him. I don't think the reason why they lost is because Brunson came back in the game, but that team was, they were on a roll without Jalen Brunson. A lot of it had to do with OG Anunoby, who had a fantastic stretch there. He didn't look right for most of the game, but he still showed that he still has it, that he's okay, and that when needed to be called upon, he can deliver. Unfortunately, down the stretch, he missed a big free throw, had some dumb plays in the backcourt. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to be positive here. It's one game. It's one game in a game where the Knicks, for the most part, looked like the better team. From the late first quarter on, the Knicks looked like a better team than the Indiana Pacers. They got at the end. They got caught at the end. They messed up in the end. Tyrese Halliburton had a lucky bounce. Shout out to him. He played fantastic, but let's not act like the ball didn't go 15 feet in the air and then drop in. He got a lucky bounce to go into overtime where the Knicks lost. There are a lot of positives to take from this game. This is an Indiana Pacers team that has full court pressed everybody, and the Knicks seem to not be bothered by that for the most part for 46 minutes. I don't know what happened at the end there. Tom Thibodeau's got to figure that out. I don't know why they were just letting Nesmith come off of screens with the ball, whatever, and shoot the three. They were not switching. They were not high switching. A lot of that is Karl-Anthony Towns. Don't know why they're in drop coverage, but then when I see Karl-Anthony Towns switch on Tyrese Halliburton and Tyrese Halliburton cook him easily, you kind of get it. There's a little bit of a liability there. The other positive, Mitchell Robinson. I can't believe I forgot him. Mitchell Robinson came in and changed the game completely. Was fantastic. Mitchell Robinson has been just utterly fantastic for the Knicks this postseason. Offensive rebounding, defensively, he can switch on the perimeter, comfortable with him on the perimeter, guarding anybody. His energy was contagious. Just overall fantastic game for Mitch. I think there are a lot of positives you could take. And that's what I'm choosing to do. I'm not going to sit here and rant for 15 minutes about how the Knicks blew the most important game of my adult life, which they did. I'm not going to sit here and jump out the window and throw a fit when the reality is it's just a 1-0 series lead. It's 1-0. Knicks win game 2. We're going back to Indiana. They could win in Indiana, take back home court advantage. This is possible. This is not like the series is 3-0. It's not they lost game 3, went down 2-0. This is a series. We knew this was going to be a series. I had the Knicks in 7, which means I thought the Knicks were going to lose 3 times this series. It happened earlier than I thought it would, but come on, let's go. Knicks fans, let's go. Listening to Jalen Brunson at the presser, he was talking about having his team's back and staying even-keeled. It's the right attitude to have. What else can he say after that? But yeah, it's the right attitude to have. I expect this team to come out tomorrow, and I expect them, to put on a performance that Knicks fans can be proud of. It's a long series. It's a very long series. So I'm not really worried about it. All right, Knicks fans. I hope you took some solace in that. Let me know what you think of Game 2. We'll preview that tomorrow. Who do you got? What's the score? Who's the X factor? What would you like to see more of? Personally, I would like to see DeLon Wright get some minutes over Campaign. I know Campaign had two threes, but I think DeLon Wright fits this series better. I think, with what he can do defensively, and also he can hit an open three. It's not like the man is offensively deficient. He's not the greatest offensive player, but he's not terrible. I think he fits this series better than Campaign does. I would like to see that. He's somebody who I think can contribute defensively into what the Knicks want to do. The Pacers put up 138 against the Knicks. That means you did something wrong defensively, especially when they start off the game shooting 100%. A lot of that to me has to do with cat and drop coverage. We'd like to see Tibbs, switch up the coverages a little bit, maybe add some more pressure to the ball, maybe trap the ball a little bit. I don't know. But something has to change on the pick and roll with Cat, and just got to execute better down the stretch. If this was a normal game, 999 times out of 1,000 times, this was a normal game. We're talking about how well the Knicks played last night. But because of the last 2 minutes of a game in which they blew a 14-point lead or whatever it was, got to sit here somber and talk about how the sky is falling. I don't really believe that. They were fine last night. They were really good. Really, really good for 46 minutes, man. And that's what we got to hold on to. All right, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment on the video. what you take from last night, your predictions for Game 2, all that good stuff. I will see you next time for another episode of Knicks Latest. Peace.